What does it mean to live unlimited? For some, it's learning to navigate a world not built for you. For others, it's discovering that strength isn't found in perfection, it's found in perseverance. The Living Unlimited podcast celebrates life without limits, real stories, raw conversations, and practical wisdom from people living boldly with limb differences. Each episode shines a light on what's possible when we choose courage over comparison and creativity over conformity. Because life isn't about what's missing, it's about what's possible. Hey, Jessica.
Hey, I am so excited. Oh, this has been a long time coming, needing to do this podcast. And what better way to start and be in this whole thing, start this whole thing with you, Pauline. I think there's mutual admiration here, and we really have a wonderful group of people that could benefit from hearing our stories and our conversations. Because it's not just about us, it's about all those out there who have ever felt like they're different, and who hasn't?
Absolutely. It was interesting because the idea of having a podcast specifically done by you and me without limbs in different ways. We'll go more into this for those of you who are just listening to it and not just watching it. We'll go ahead and give you an audio description of who we are, but it came because there was an organization I had just heard of this year called Enhancing Skills for Life. And it was an organization that was created to support people with limb differences, at least two or more limbs missing. And saw that they were having their conference that's happening every 3 years. And then Jessica reached out to me. That this was back in February. Jessica reached out to me in October and was like, "Are you going?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Jessica, it's been so long since we've talked. And no, I'm not going." But she was going, and it just brought it to mind again that, like, I did some research, and there are about little over 2 million people with limb differences, either born or acquired in their life, that are in the US alone. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I had something like this when I was growing up, it would have been a lifesaver. It would have saved me so much pain and feeling lonely, and it would have helped validate my experience in some way. And so I brought it up to Jessica, and Jessica's like, I'm game. What did you think when I brought the idea up to you?
Well, I knew that you are just this wonderfully optimistic person, and the reality is that when you're born with a limb difference, life is not exactly easy. And I'm not even just talking about the physicality of things, how to do things without arms. I mean, we both don't have arms and hands. But I'm talking about the emotional stuff. And I thought, well, here's someone who understands. Here's someone who I feel like we're sisters because we have more than just a limb difference in common. But just to give everyone a background, we're both also Filipino American. So we have a Filipino parent and an American parent. So a blend of both cultures, and grew up that way. And you're just so beautifully optimistic about your life. And the fact that you have one less limb, and one and a half, I should say, less limbs than me. So what a beautiful way to just bring out some of these challenges, the emotional reality of being different. And I'm just excited. So I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're starting. And I hope this really speaks to all of you listening to us. And of course, we want to engage with you. So we expect that you are going to engage with us. And how do you think we're going to do that, Polly? Or how we're going to ask people to kind of fill us in, or topics and that sort of stuff?
Yeah. Sometimes you have an idea and you just jump right on in and you don't think about all the other little details. But as we post each episode, there will always be space for you to comment and share your experiences, perhaps shared, perhaps different from us. And we haven't really talked about it, Jessica, but possibly creating a social media page where people can engage with us live. Maybe we go live sometimes. Maybe we just post something and you put a comment, or you just message us and DM us and let us know, what would you like to hear about? What's important to you? Because the reality of it is, and I feel like we're on the other side of this, Jessica, right? We've gone through a lot of hard times, especially growing up. The teen years are hard for everybody, but you add limb difference on top of that. Whew, dating, getting married, having children, finding jobs, like all of it. Like, we've gone through it all. And so I do feel like we have the benefit of experience on our side. And we understand that some people are maybe just going through it right now, or you're
Yeah.
just struggling with certain things like confidence or being stared at, or a lot of the things that come along with having limb differences. And this is not just for us. This is going to be
Yes.
very cathartic and reflective for us, Jess, but
No
not,
doubt.
but it's going to be for everybody. And so this is really a partnership, not just between Jessica and I, but between you all too.
And I love that you brought up the fact that there are people out there who have lost limbs, and we were both born this way without arms, and then, of course, Pauline, you also have 1 foot, correct? So, you are also born without is it your right leg or your left leg?
I'm missing my right leg, and my left leg is what it looks like. I know this, but visually, it looks like a turkey leg. I can,
Oh,
I
coming up on Thanksgiving, very appropriate. I love it.
can
Okay. So you actually yeah, so we are different in that sense. You're quadruple, I'm bilateral, and what I was trying to talk about was the fact that I just met someone who lost both of his arms just last year at that last Enhancing Skills for Life conference. And I was just like, I can just not imagine what life would be like if you lived your whole life up to a certain point and all of a sudden something traumatic happens, whether it's something like sepsis, a disease, or some kind of traumatic thing that happened, you lose it. And then you have to move forward in life and a whole new life emerges from this traumatic incident that happens. So that's a whole different ball game. And naturally, like you said, though, Pauline, we've gone through living our entire lives this way. So we want to impart wisdom on those who are starting this for the very first time in their life and not knowing how do you deal with self-worth, self-confidence, being stared at and all those things. So I'm really loving this. I think it's been needed for a very long time. So I'm very happy about this, Pauline. And coming from a person who's been speaking on stage for 19 years, this is very different. And this will be very intimate and a lot different than a prepared keynote speech, as I've been doing on stages across the globe. So, and I know, Pauline, you've had experience, though, in the podcast world. So I'm thrilled to be doing this with you.
Thank you. As much as we are similar, there are some differences. And what I love about that is that we bring those both those gifts together into this experience. And we really want this podcast to be an experience. We don't want to just be our talking heads, but have you experienced this with us? Again, I just want you to engage with us. I do really want to encourage that because we can think about what we think is important, but perhaps we didn't see something else that is a part of your life and you would like to hear our thoughts on that as well. I just want to honor Jessica as well because you said some beautiful comments of admiration for me. And it goes both ways, honestly, because Jessica has been on stages for 19 years. She is the only that I know of armless pilot. She has paved the way for so many people. And it was a pipe dream. Like I saw you, Jessica, on social media, documentaries, the news. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this person? But first I thought, "Oh my god, there's someone like me."
Hmm.
And then I was like, "Oh, I wanna interview her." But I'm like, "Why would she spend time with me?" And that's another thing. You're going through life, and if you're wanting to chase after your dreams and you feel like, "Ah, who am I to do this?" or "Why am I anything? Like, why do I matter?" And you do. And there are like, both Jessica and I are very down to earth people. We want to engage with you. This is about relationship. This is about shared experiences and also celebrating our differences. And even though the experience of being born without limbs and then later in life having your limbs taken away can be different. And people say, "Oh, isn't it easier when you're born with it?" And I don't know if I could say it's easier because I don't have the other experience, but I can tell you I've had a lot more practice at it. And so has
Yes.
Jessica. And that's what we bring to the table for all of you.
And thank you for bringing up how what spoke to you when you first heard my story. Because when you said she's just like me, that's exactly what I hope everyone who's listening can connect on that same level that we are similar and different so many different ways, but we're here because we're here in this commonality of a limb difference, and we want to connect with you, and we really want to make this a beautiful thing. And this is just trying it out, but we hope that it gains some good traction.
Amen. Amen. All right, Jessica, how do you feel about that for our first episode?
Oh, well done. That covered a lot. It covered about ourselves, our experiences, and how we hope this will touch many lives of all those listeners out there.
Yes. So, if this is something that has perked your interest, perhaps you are someone with a limb difference, perhaps you have family or friends with limb differences, perhaps you just want to know more about what our world is like and what it's like to live without limbs, then this is the podcast for you. And we really hope that you join us on the regular as we unfold this journey in front of you. So thank you for coming along on our conversations and what we have to share with our experiences. Do you have any last thoughts you'd like to share with our audience before we close out episode 1?
I'm just so excited, and thanks for coming along, and we're excited for you to be part of this.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
That's an armless wave right there.
I love it.
They said there's only one way to live, but we were born to redefine it. We found light in the hardest places, turned the struggle into guidance. Every scar, every stair, every door once closed became the wind beneath our hopes. We're not what the world expects to see. We're the proof